Welcome to TechMan. This video is a recording of a live webinar, so you may hear references to live questions or features as they appeared at the time. With that in mind, let's dive in.
Today we're going to be going through settings. Mainly the settings drop down, but also in the general settings at the end, we'll go through some things in there, which I think I'm taking this more for kind of support calls that I've had, as well as what has been asked on training as well, to really answer a lot of the FAQs, the frequently asked questions that do come up on either support calls or training questions. A lot actually in training that a lot of garages have asked similar questions on, which I think will be obviously beneficial to go through on here. So the first thing that we're going to do is go pretty much in ascending order on the first few things in the settings. So the first thing is sites. So if we click on sites, as I say, this is just the demo system, or one of our demo systems. So some of the information here may obviously not be 100% accurate, but that's just because it's a testing system. So when you go into settings and sites, it will bring up all the sites that are in your TechMan system. So most garages obviously only have one, but I think we have a couple of garages with over 5 and numbers in between that as well. So if you've got a multi-site, it'll come up with all of your sites. And then if you are just the one site on TechMan, then obviously you'll just have the one. So what we'll do, we hit edit on here. And this will take you to all of your site details. And the information in here is really important, and potentially a lot more important than you potentially realize as well. So the site name, which is obviously just design demo here, but if it was a garage, if it was Smith's Garage, for example, you would write the name Smith's Garage in here. And what that does, that generates the site name for anything in the system that needs the site name generating for. So say you might have it on your footer in your invoice, at the end of any template in your email and text templates, for example, if it's an MOT reminder, if it's an invoice, if it's a job confirmation, anything like that, where it has garage name to be generated, this is the box that it generates that garage name from. So you just need to make sure obviously you've got the correct garage name in there, and then you can edit it how you like, if you're trading under a different garage name, if you change the name for whatever reason. But this is really important because that is where the garage name is generated from via the whole system, throughout the whole system. So just going through as well, your address, your county, town, postcode, anything from the VAT number, company number, and upwards. So the first 4 lines here, apart from this send email as a user part, the first 4 lines on there, they all generate onto the footer of all of your invoices. So anything you see in that footer, that is the information which is generated from here. So if you think that anything is wrong in there, say if you update your VAT number, your company number, if you change premises and need to update your postcode, what you don't need to do is log a support ticket, because obviously it could take a couple of hours to maybe be done, maybe a couple of days to be done through support. Obviously, depending on our pipeline and the development team's pipeline, you guys can just log on and go into settings and sites. So you the drop down settings, sites here, and then make the changes yourself. And that's just for the footer of your invoices in here. So that's why it's really good, because it means any changes you make, you can do yourself as well, so it's all generated from here. Just going down as well, so obviously we don't have a logo for the demo system because it's just the demo system, but when you click here in site logo, when a logo is generated in here, that will also auto-generate onto all of your invoices. So whatever logo you see in your settings and sites, that will be what is auto-generated. Now, if you don't have a logo in there, what we often do is put a default name. So it would just be your garage's name in there. So if it was Smith's Garage, for example, it would just say Smith's Garage and it wouldn't be the logo. So we still have your kind of identity on that invoice, but I know most garages like their logo being on there, and the way to do that is by clicking on here. You would choose the file. Obviously, all your files will come up, and then you can update the logo in there for you. Now you can also assign accounting departments on here for whatever system you've got as well. And obviously on each system, on each site, sorry, in your system, it can be different, which is why in settings and sites you can go on to your second site, for example, and add everything in there, because I mean pretty much with every multi-site there'll be different addresses, potentially different company numbers and VAT numbers. If you're not quite, obviously, if you're all under the same roof, it'll probably be the same under the same company banner, sorry, it'll probably be the same. But if not, it means that every site can have their own identity rather than it, being shared across a few. Now, also in sites, you have loads of different templates in here. So this could be for a car sales advert, a car sales invoice, order forms, a couple of things you might need to request for support to be enabled, but that's absolutely fine. But you can enable a lot of the stuff on here yourself. So if you don't want check sheets in your system, for example, then you can disable them or enable them. Excess invoices, excess refunds, itemized refunds, any of that, you can enable or disable in your system here, and you've got loads. You've got quote, itemized, purchase orders, refunds, returns, reports. Any of those, if you want any of those disabled for whatever reason, or if anything is clicked as disabled, you can obviously click it, or unticked as enabled, you can then click it to be enabled on there. So, you can obviously see what's on the screen here. There'll be a lot more things to go through on there for yourselves, but this is, you can obviously see what can be enabled or disabled in here. Now, I can see a lot more people have joined us in the last minute. So just to recap what I've gone through so far, we're doing the settings drop down and a couple of things in general settings as well today. What we've just gone through so far is just the bit in sites. So what I've just kind of gone through is that the site name here is very important, that's right, because it generates a lot of things in your system. So for example, on your invoice, the site name on there, that's generated from this box, and also in your templates, whenever you've got an MOT reminder, a job confirmation, an estimate confirmation, stuff like that, when it has your site name, so it says all the best, or look forward to hearing from you soon, Smith's Garage, that would be generated from here. So ours would, if we were using the demo system, ours would say all the best, design demo. So that's really important to have the site name correct in there, because it generates in a lot of different places on the system. And then just in here, from company number, VAT number, and website above, all of this information auto-generates onto the footer of your invoices as well. So it's quite important to have, well, very important to have all the information correct in there. And just the last thing to go through for anyone that may have missed it, the site logo, if you put your site logo in here, that again auto generates onto your invoice. So all these things, because we have a few people who request for support to do this, and we'll go back and say, actually, you can do this yourself, which saves you guys time as well. If you've had an update of logo or update of address for whatever reason on there. Perfect. So the second thing we'll go through is users. Now, for anyone, by the way, that wasn't on at the start, any questions you've got, please put it in the question box, the Q&A box. We can get those answered. We'll answer all of them at the end, because you never know, some of your questions about settings might be answered in this webinar, or hopefully they are, because that's what we're going through today. So in users, this is the section that any user who uses TechMan, so that'll be the service advisors, front of house, sometimes accountants will as well, the receptionists, all of them, this is where their logins will be. Now, 2 weeks ago, we went through the personnel section, which is here, which is the logins for all of the technicians. Now, this is not to be confused with the users. The users is not the logins for the technicians, it's the logins for the front of house people, whether that be, again, reception, accountant, stuff like that. So in here, you can add a new user, which is just with this plus button here. Now, you just put their first name, their last name, and then often we do the username as the first and last name put together. Now, I'll just put a default password in there. And then you select the dashboard and you select the default site. Now, this is very important. If you are a multi-site, you must select the correct site for that person. So we'll select the design demo, and then we will enable them. Now, it'll always ask you to put the user alerts and access data on here, just at front of house as well. We'll just click yes on that. And then what you can do, if you've got some of those user profiles enabled, it will actually enable some of the user permissions on there for you as well. So I'll just save that. Need to re-enter a password. And the good thing is, for security purposes, the password will never be visible. So they'll always have one, but it will never be a dashboard. And then there we go. So we'll save that, and then the good thing about this is that you will never be able to see the password. So say if your computer is within reach of one of the like one of the reception desks for whatever reason, you won't be able to have a password being viewed. So that's the really good thing about the system in there. So once we've created that user, you can go in and you can edit all of their user permissions and all things like that. Another little detail on here is that just recently, obviously, we've done the automated credits as part of the update. We've released quite a few things in the update, but one big one is automated credits, which helps you guys because if support are a little bit busy and haven't been able to add the credits straight away for you, you guys can do that yourselves, which means if you are down to zero for whatever reason, you won't be down to zero for long. So these two buttons right at the bottom here are very important to be ticked, and we'll come on to how to do that later on for you. So this is where to add all the users. The only other thing I would say is on the emails, make sure you've got an email in there. The reason this is if someone has forgotten a password, you can hit forgot password and it will send to that email. And if you haven't got an email and you forgot your password, unfortunately, obviously you're a little bit stuck. You can always call support and we can put an email in there for you, but it just saves that time of doing that, and you can just obviously get on with your day and do that yourself on there. So that's in users. We'll just go down. We don't obviously need to go through every single thing in here. We'll just go down to devices. Now this, the device section is pretty much only applicable to anyone on an advanced or pro. If you're on a light, please stay, because there's not much that will, I kind of don't know if the best word excludes, if that is the best word, but doesn't apply is probably the better word to a light. But this is one of the few things that doesn't in settings, and that's the devices. So for your authentication keys for your technicians when logging into TechView and Terminal, if you do have the Pro system, this is where to find those auth keys. So they're all here. That's in settings and devices. Now you won't be asked for these all the time. I always say to people on training, it's a little bit like a contactless card. Occasionally you'll be asked to put your PIN in just for security purposes, and like this, occasionally you will be asked for your auth key, but very, very rarely, just on the occasion, just to make sure that the person using it is the person who should be using it. But they can be accessed in settings and then your devices for you. Now I see a couple of people that have joined, so we are just going through the settings of the system today and all the functions. We've gone through sites and users, just done devices. The full recording of this, if anyone on here would like to re-go through this or whatever, will be available I think by Monday on our YouTube platforms and Facebook as well. Now the template section, this is quite important for anyone that is doing text reminders or email reminders, which I think the vast majority of our customers do. Well, I know the vast majority of our customers do, whether that be just emails, just texts, or a bit of both. Now on here, I'm just going to go on the booking amended email, because the function of editing is the same for any template on here. So what you can do, you can go and edit what that customer will view in the template. And this is why when I was talking about on the sites settings, to get the system name correct is imperative, because the garage name, that is where it's generated from. Also the garage telephone number as well, and so we've actually got the user who's logged on in this template as well. So if the username for whatever reason is spelt wrong, it would generate however it's spelt on there. So that would be from users, the settings and users. That's how that name is generated in there. So what you can do, you can pick a keyword. So we've currently got customer full name formal. So the customer full name formula is here, so you can see that will display the customer's titles and surname if available, and otherwise the customer company name if it's displayed. So this gives you a full list of anything that you can have in there and how it's displayed. So if you just want it to be Dear Joe, then it would just be the first name. But if you wanted to be Dear Mr. Blogs, then you could do the customer's full formal name. Obviously, that says if it's available. Sometimes you might not want to put if they're a Mr. or Mrs. Obviously you just might want to leave that blank for whatever reason. We obviously say please do get their first and surname. If for whatever reason you haven't, then it would display the company's name if you've got that instead. So like I said, I don't think people will get the company name over the first and surname, but you never know, that could always be the case for you. So that's how to do that. It'll show you how many characters are on here as well, and then you just click enabled if you want that enabled. The email subject here is what the customer will see, and the name here is just what you see for the name of that template. So the email subject is very important. As long as you've got everything in here, it will generate it for you. Obviously, you'll have the vehicle reg, which you'll have the vehicle make as well. You have also got the option to put the vehicle model in as well, and then this will marry up with whatever job it is booked in with. So the booking date and time will be generated from there. So the system, you know, I know this is probably not an alien function in terms of the keywords to a lot of you, but the system is very clever with how it does that, and it makes it so user-friendly because you don't need to manually edit any templates that go out, whether that be a job confirmation, an invoice, an email estimate, for example. The system does it all for you. So the only time you need to edit it is in the template section here. Once it's edited, that template will go out with all of the correct customer information in. When I say the correct customer information, as long as the customer information is correct when it's inputted by the garage, the system will send it out correctly for you. So that's in templates. You can also add a new template with either the big plus button here or the new template button up here. I'm just going to see if anything has been asked in the Q&A. No, so we're all good. If anyone does, there's quite a few of you on now, so I hope you've all had a lovely week. I don't know if anyone was on at the start when I said that, so hope you all have had a lovely week, and I hope this has been as beneficial for you as you'd like to find it for you. So you can either add a template by the big plus button here or new template. They take you to exactly the same place, so it's probably whatever one your mouse is closest to. You can do it either if it's an SMS, an email, or a letter, if you want to still send out letters. So this is an SMS, so it's just the name. And then when you click email, it will change a bit because obviously the email will have a subject as well. On a text, you obviously don't have a subject, it's just the text body on there. So you put in the name, you put in the content and the email subject, but upon system creation, we put all of these in for you. So all of these, I believe we haven't actually added any in separately. So all of these that you can see right now are all default templates that get added to your system. So you don't need to add all of these in. I know some the garage that I trained the other day wanted a project template booked in or added because they do project vehicles over a long period of time. So we added that in for them, but obviously not all garage will have that needed, and that was the only one they needed to add in. All of the rest was already in for them. So it's a really, really great part of the system because it diminishes so much work that needs to be done in terms of typing text, typing emails, stuff like that. System does it all for you. Now in here is your integrations. So what you've got here is the full list of integrations, and they are also put into the different subsections as well. That is quite a new feature in the system. So which I personally think is really helpful, because obviously what you used to have is when a new integration was added, it would just go down to the bottom. So you could have if you were to have just integrated with take payments, it might be at the bottom below your GSF and nappers, and it's got everything a little bit I say muddled, not muddled, but it's just nice to have everything blocked out. So obviously we have everything in here. What you can see now are all the available integrations. If you guys haven't got all of them, they're all available to you if you are affiliated with ECP, GSF, Napper, Dingbro, and stuff like that. But this is where you find your integrations, and if you ever need to configure any integrations, then this is the page to do it in settings and integrations. Now, there's a few things I'm not going to go through purely because it's not a creation thing. It's just more of a list, like customer reminders, invoice messages, payment methods. They're all lists of things. So if whatever's gone out, you'll see on the customer reminders, invoice messages. Likewise, you can create your own in here. So what we'll go down now to is job statuses. Now, a lot of training that we add different job statuses in. So we put about a default of, I think, about 8 in, which is your booked, is your arrived on site, awaiting parts, on hold, work in progress, work complete, invoiced awaiting payment, payment complete, and cancelled. Well done if you took any of that in, because I realised I did go through that quite quickly. But anything that you want adding in, you can. So a lot of people like to have awaiting MOT booked in because on there, because obviously MOT is a job, but it's a slightly kind of obviously different process, and some people like to see the difference between a normal job awaiting parts and a vehicle awaiting MOT. Obviously, it's all color coded as well. So when it's on the dashboard, that color will come up. I'll actually just show you that now. So when it's on the dashboard, the color will come up. So work in progress is green, on hold is red, work complete is more of a dark green, invoice rate payment is blue. So I personally do see things a lot better, like with colors and stuff like that, and I'm sure I'm not the only one with that. So it's nice to have those color codes on there. So if I wanted to add one, say if it was awaiting MOT, because I don't think that one's actually in there just upon first glance, and I think there's a lot of colors in there. Let's try for a bit of a turquoise. I don't think that was quite in there. Could be very wrong. No, we got that right. We actually did quite well there. So you can you can add the awaiting MOT in there, but obviously you probably don't want awaiting MOT right at the bottom. So you can drag and drop up and down where you want to put this. Now I appreciate a few of you are probably going, well, the live chat function's in the way, I can't drag and drop it. You can get rid of the live chat function being there by opening the live chat and then moving it aside so that you have got the awaiting MOT 3 buttons here where we can now drag and drop that there. And then I don't know why I can't. I hadn't enabled it. There we go. I haven't fully enabled it. I'm teaching myself here as well. There we go. Enable that. And then able to drag and drop that up here. So I'm going to put that between the valet and photos and waiting the PDI as well. As you saw there, you always have to enable one, as I caught myself out there, to be able to make the changes there. Now you can add as many in as you want. One of our demo systems I think has about 30 in there, obviously just for testing purposes, but that's just a way of showing that you can add a lot more in there. Now in terms of a lot of these current settings survey stuff, I won't go over because they are quite self-explanatory with how they work and things like that, and a few of them again are just lists. So what I'll go through now is the general settings, and first thing that I will go through is the credit settings, because this is a bit like with the groupings of the integrations. The credit settings is a new part of one of our updates. So in here you can set when you want the credits to reoccur. And what you can do is, so when you've got an amber level, it will turn orange. So at the moment, we've got 646 credits in here. All fine, don't need to have any worries about that. You can set when you want the amber warning to come through. So that's when it turns orange and gets a little bit bigger. So we've got that set at 80 credits. And then the 40 is the red when it gets a little bit bigger. And obviously, red catches the eye as a color that needs to be actioned upon. So that's how you can set the alerts, but you can also set the reoccurring ones to on here. So you can set it to 500, sorry, 1,000, 2,500, whatever you want it to be. And then you can also say what the minimum credit level you want to get to as well. Now you can add these yourself. So if I save that, you can add these yourselves. You don't need to contact support anymore. You can add them up here in the add function here. It'll take you to our credit homepage, and you can purchase them in here. Once you've added it to the cart, you'll just have to. So once you've added it to the cart, you can view the cart and pay for them, and then they'll be added to your system automatically. So that's one of our new updates, which is going to improve the usability and the functionality, and also the quickness that you get your credits as well, because it's very much just down to you and down to your prerogative when you want to get some more, rather than obviously waiting for the support team. And if we're short on staff and we've got a lot of tickets coming in, obviously we may not be able to get to your credits as quickly as we want to. So this is a big help for anyone, especially if anyone's on 0 credits and obviously wants to get them as quickly as possible. One thing I always like to go through on any training session is this section, which is the job settings. Now, we actually have everything ticked in here, but I would always recommend not to have everything ticked in here. And the things I would recommend to not have ticked is to require a vehicle on creation and also require a customer on creation. Now, upon first hearing that, you might think that that's a bit redundant and a little bit like silly to say, but a lot of customers that we have, a lot of garages sporadically might just do an over-the-counter, like a part sale, or they may actually invoice for something which has not been done on a vehicle. If they fix something else in the garage that they need to invoice, you obviously don't require a vehicle for that. Or if it's just a part being fixed and not an actual vehicle, you obviously won't have a vehicle for just that part. So when you untick this and save it, it means that obviously you are given the option to add a vehicle, and that will still be the first thing on that job, or first option to hit on that job, but you won't be blocked from creating a job if you don't put a vehicle in. A little bit like a customer as well. Say if something has come now, and I always struggle to find an example for this. I did have one support call once where they didn't have a customer as well. They didn't have the vehicle, they didn't have the customer. I can't actually remember what job they were doing, but basically, in essence, they needed this unticked and they didn't have it unticked. So this means you can invoice a job of labor and products. You don't need a customer or a vehicle. Obviously, you'll pretty much always have a customer, even if you don't have a vehicle, but with almost all of our clients being garages, you will always often have a vehicle on there. Like, well, for example, I think one of our clients was doubling up. I don't know if they still do, but as a bit of kind of a handyman and stuff like that. So they were doing a lot through their system in terms of invoicing, but obviously they didn't need vehicles for that. So that's just one example of why in job settings, I would always recommend to untick require a vehicle and then require a customer on creation. Just to help you out in that eventuality, because you could maybe do this 3 years down the line, invoice for a job like that, and you may not remember this webinar and to have done that. So obviously there are a lot of settings to go through. We obviously only have half an hour, so I knew we weren't going to get through all of them. They're the main ones to go through. I will also just go through the customer reminder settings, because what you can do if you want to disable any SMS booking reminders or email, you can do that in here. So I know some of our customers like to disable SMSs sometimes, because obviously you all know SMS cost credits. We have to do that, but I know some customers like to save the credits where they can, so sometimes they'll disable this, and you can also put the how many reminders you want sending for the job as well. Just actually on that, the one thing I didn't go through was the vehicle reminders. So a very similar function, but this is more for MOTs and services rather than bookings. So if I went on to MOT, you can set how many days before you want all of those reminders to be. You can enable the text or email or both, and then do the labor slot that equates to as well, so that the system will know when to send that out for you. Now, in terms of the settings, they're the main ones that all, in terms of FAQs that I get from customers on training and support, they are the main ones that we've been kind of asked to go through and that I wanted to go through on this webinar to obviously help you guys out.
Thanks for watching. For more TechMan webinars, updates, and training content, don't forget to subscribe and explore our other videos. See you next time.